Much has been written about the political career of Germany's Iron Chancellor. But in Bismarck, A Life, the American historian Jonathan Steinberg has chosen to focus on the infuriating contradictions in his mercurial personality. The politician and former deputy governor in Iraq, Rory Stewart, went to meet the author to discover more about the statesman who cast such a long shadow over modern Germany.
Perhaps no country in Europe has had so much influence on modern history as Germany. But 150 years ago, there was no such thing as a united state called Germany. The creator of this modern unified German state was perhaps the greatest diplomatic gambler of all time, Otto von Bismarck. As a politician, what strikes me about Bismarck is that he had one big idea. He wanted to create a unified Germany. Despite all the oppositions, he got it done. Bismarck was seen by everybody as the Iron Chancellor. But in Jonathan Steinberg's fascinating new book, something else emerges. Private, vulnerable man behind that iron exterior.
The real Bismarck was a complex character, a hypochondriac with the constitution of an ox. He always wore a uniform in public after a certain stage in his career, but he was one of the few important Prussians never to serve in the king's regular army. His fellow Junkers came to distrust him. He was too clever, too unstable, too unpredictable, not a proper chap. But all agreed he was brilliant.
So Jonathan, who was Bismarck? How would you explain who Bismarck was to somebody today?
Born in 1815, dies in 1898, the man who unifies Germany through three great wars, a war against Denmark in 1864, a war against the Austrians in 1866, a war against the French in 1870. He creates the Germany which is there now. He puts all the states together in a federation, and that's the great Bismarck. The scale of Bismarck's triumph cannot be exaggerated. He had told those who would listen what he intended to do, how he intended to do it, and he did it. With perfect justice, in August 1866, he pounded his fist on his desk and cried, "I have beaten them all. He's physically larger than life, and he's just intellectually larger than life. What all contemporaries say, once Bismarck gets into stream, you cannot describe it. It's bewitching. And his enemies say that too. And of course, I am a historian, which means I'm interested in how the world we live in came to be. And Bismarck is one of those people who really did transform it. Christoph Tiedemann dined for the first time at the Bismarcks in 1875, and this is what he wrote, quote, "About 7:30, the prince invited Zübel and me to follow him to his study. As a precaution, he offered us his bedroom, which was next to the study, as a place to relieve ourselves. We went in and found under the bed the two objects we sought, which were of colossal dimensions. As we stationed ourselves at the wall, Zübel spoke seriously and from the depth of his heart, 'Everything about the man is great, even his shit.'"
In the book, you refer to him as a demonic figure. What do you mean by that?
There was a power in him which contemporaries were aware of, and they used this word frequently. The leader of the Catholic Party once said, Bismarck, "Il est le diable," he is the devil. This destructiveness, this power, the capacity to flatten people, to mesmerize them, did have something really uncanny about it. And lots of contemporaries called him that.
It's something in the psychological makeup means there's a sort of powerful urge either for domination or self-destruction.
Yeah, that's right.
And this also manifests itself rather curiously for such a macho guy in incredible kind of bouts of concerns about his health.
He was a hypochondriac, and as he got older, the hypochondria became worse, and then it became associated with all kinds of terrible symptoms. If the king spoke a bad word to him, he'd put himself to bed like a baby. He wouldn't come out for a couple of days because he was so upset. And in domestic affairs, he was exasperated the whole time. Because he had designed a system of government which only he could make decisions, he had to decide on absolutely everything. And of course, the fact is that he didn't have the power. Everything he did required the king to do it. And that's part of the problem of Bismarck's career. He was this man obsessed with dominating people, and he was a servant. What did admirers see in him? We all know the picture of the stern figure with his heavy eyebrows and mustache, in uniform, often with a glittering pickelhaube on his head. image hung in every schoolroom and over many a hearth. He embodied and manifested the greatness of Germany. The image became itself a burden to his successors. He made it impossible that Germany could get along with normal people. The new Kaiser comes, he's 29 years old. He wants to be a different kind of king. He wants to be a king of the people. And he and Bismarck clash at once. And Bismarck is just dismissed, something that could have happened at any time in the previous 28 years.
The Kaiser who sacked him is, of course, the Kaiser who then leads Germany into the First World War.
Yeah. Sir Edward Grey said, and I think this is a wonderful metaphor, that Germany was like a battleship without a rudder. And the reason for that, of course, is that the rudder was only working in the hands of Bismarck. Once that collapsed, who was going to do this? The system could no longer work, and that is a catastrophe.
What do you think Bismarck would have made of this weird 21st century phenomenon? BBC television cameras, being nominated for the Samuel Johnson Prize, celebrity professors.
Well, he liked publicity, so I suppose he might have liked that. But if he didn't win, he wouldn't have been pleased.